Instead of being at work right now, you know what I'm doing? Reading. Okay, no, I didn't actually take off a week of work so that I could read, but I did take off a week of work because Christmas is on Thursday. So I took off this full week. And so that means we're gonna read. Today is Monday. No. Okay. I'll be back. I believe I was saying it's Monday. Yes, it is Monday. So we're starting off a new week. I am off this full week, which I'm really excited about. I'm also really excited because this is my first reading vlog on this channel. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited to be starting a booktube channel, but I'm not going to get into that too much here. We talked about it on my new booktube newbie to act video. So if you haven't watched that, go watch that. To kick off this first day of the week, I'm currently reading The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. I am on page 246, and according to Goodreads, the last time I updated it this morning, so I shouldn't be too far off. I am 80% done with this read. I started reading this on Thursday. Like I said, today's Monday, and it's been a great book so far. It's been a book that I've had to go very slow with. It's not been a book that I can, like some books I can read, let's say, in 30 minutes, I high-key may read 40 pages. This book, in 30 minutes, I only may read 15 or 20. It's a book I really have to take my time with because the writing is very different, which I appreciate because it takes you back to this time period. I didn't even tell y'all what the book was about. I guess you can kind of figure a little based on the title, but I'm going to read the synopsis to y'all. Cora is a young slave on a cotton plantation in Georgia. An outcast, even among her fellow Africans, she's on the cusp of womanhood where greater pain awaits. And so when Caesar, a slave who has recently arrived from Virginia, urges her to join him on the Underground Railroad, she seizes the opportunity and escapes with him. In Colson Whitehead's ingenious conception, the Underground Railroad is no mere metaphor. Engines and conductors operate a secret network of actual tracks and tunnels beneath southern soil. Cora embarks on a harrowing flight from one state to the next, encountering, like Gulliver, I don't know who Gulliver is, strange yet familiar iterations of her own world at each stop. As Whitehead recreates the terrors of the antebellum era, he weaves in the saga of our nation, from the brutal abduction of Africans to the unfulfilled promises of the present day. The Underground Railroad is the gripping tale of one woman's will to escape the horrors of bondage, and a powerful meditation on the history we all share. As you will come to learn more about me on this channel, I love historical fiction. I also love reading books by Black authors. Most of the books that I read are by Black authors. I don't read a lot of books by male authors. Like, I feel like since I started back reading in 2022, 2023. Since then, I've probably only read like 3 or so books by a man. It just kind of happens that way that most of the books I read are by women. That's kind of nice. I feel like I'm getting a little bit of a diverse reading by reading a book by a man. Like I said earlier, I've been taking my time with it. And so I've also been making sure to just kind of jot down some things in my reading journal as I go along to continue to help me take my time with the book and to continue to help me think about the book even more. I watched a video a couple of days ago talking about how we need to take our time when it comes to books. We don't need to be just like rushing through books, and how it's really not okay to read a whole book and then you be like, oh, I like the book, and someone asks you, what do you like about it? And you don't have nothing to say. And y'all, that's me. I'd be like, I don't know what I liked about it, but I know that I liked it. And I don't want to be like that if I can help it. I want to be able to make sure I'm really taking in what I'm reading, digesting what I'm reading, so that I can communicate it thoroughly. And that's also one reason why I started my book channel, because I feel like it will challenge me to do that, to say more than, oh, I just liked it. It's like, okay, why did you like it? So yeah, what do I like about this book so far then? I like that it's challenging me to slow down and to really read, to really be locked in while I'm reading. I like the storyline. As I read from the synopsis, Cora is essentially on the run. She is on the Underground Railroad. The whole book isn't just about her literally being on the run and being in the woods, and it's not about that. There's stops that she makes along the way, and I really enjoy that. I like that I've learned some things through this book. For example, on one of her stops, I don't want to like say too much because I want you to read the book, but on one of Cora's stops, she's in a particular state in the South, and it just talked about how freemen in that state, or black people, were given a lot of rights and had a lot of autonomy. Not all the autonomy in the world, but had a lot of autonomy. And I thought that was really, really interesting because I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Now, that's not necessarily a fact about that state, but it is something that was true during this time period of slavery. There were certain places where freemen in the South were able to, like I said, just have some sort of autonomy. So I like that this book feels very real. For example, I just finished reading a part, and it's talking about one of the males in the place where Cora is now is making some barbecue, and he was putting some vinegar and pepper on the barbecue. It sounded like they got the meat in a pit, and I just love that because that is how so many black people to this day still cook barbecue. And as we know, black people just have such a deep connection and deep history, rich history when it comes to barbecue and food. So I love that. It makes it feel real. Like I just feel like this is a story or perspective that I have not seen when it comes to talking about slavery and enslavement before, and I really appreciate that. This book ties in a lot of different aspects of things that black people have dealt with during this time period, but even seeing some of that still to this day. I feel like it's very well rounded in that perspective. Like I said, it's not just Cora on the run the whole time, and yeah, I don't know if I would necessarily enjoy a whole book about that. I feel like at a certain point I'd probably get a little fatigued and be like, okay, all right, I'm gonna spend a little bit more time reading. I have to clean my house because I have a friend coming over a little later. So yeah, I'm gonna clean, and then I should have some time to read some more before she gets here. I was trying so hard to finish this book yesterday. Last night I started reading at like 11:30 or so. And I was like, I'm gonna finish this book. I'm gonna finish this book. I had like 70 pages left. I still have about 70 pages left. And after 5 minutes of reading, I was looking at the page like, and I said, girl, go to bed because you're not retaining any of this book. And I'd rather actually take in what I'm reading versus finish the book and just be like, yay, I finished it. That's the whole thing I was talking about, like slowing down and stuff. Yeah, no. So did not finish the Underground Railroad yesterday. I do not know if I'll be able to, well, here's my thoughts. We're gonna be traveling back home today to Georgia for the holidays. Christmas is in 2 days, by the way. That's crazy. I would love to finish this before we go back home because I wanna bring to Georgia First Light Winds by Ashley, what's her name, Elston. I wanna bring that home, and I don't wanna have to bring this as well. I don't want to bring 2 books. I just want to bring one. But with us preparing to go home today, there's just some things we need to do around the house. Like I need to wash and fold some clothes. I need to clean. I also really would love to get my nails done today. Yeah, so there's some things that need to get done. So I don't know if it's realistic for me to finish before we hit the road, but that would be lovely if I could do so. So I'm about to read for about 20 minutes or so. Then after that, I need to get into like the cleaning and the packing. I'm gonna go ahead and put some clothes in the washing machine and some laundry. So we're definitely gonna be putting some music over this because you don't wanna hear that ruckus going. No. It is so past my bedtime, so forgive me for looking how I look, but guys, I finished it. I finished the Underground Railroad. We actually didn't go home tonight. We're going home tomorrow morning, and so that gave me some time to get the book finished with the other things I needed to do. So I'm really happy about that. My initial ratings are 4 stars, guys. 4 stars. I really enjoyed this book. It was beautiful. It was sad. It was very well rounded. It just was such a great history lesson, I feel like. I mean, this author hit on so many things in this book, but they were incorporated very seamlessly. It wasn't like, that's random or that's random. Well, okay, there is one. This book covers various storylines. You're following the main character, Cora, and her storyline the most. But in between her storylines, it goes to some other character storylines. There was one character storyline that I was a little confused by. This is a little bit of a spoiler alert. So if you want to read this book, skip over the next couple seconds. But one of the storylines was from a character who was a gravedigger in Boston, and like he was also a law student. So to make money at night to help keep up with the expenses of living in Boston, he would dig up graves and cadavers and like sell them to universities and medical schools and stuff. And I was a little confused why that was in there. Maybe I need to go back because I don't feel like I got my answers on like why that was included. But other than that, I feel like everything else was incorporated seamlessly, and even with that, even with me being a little confused, I kind of still appreciated that it was incorporated because it was just like something, it was an interesting perspective and something like interesting to learn about. I never thought about gravediggers before, and the fact that like people, like that was a thing. And I'm sure probably low-key still is a thing. I am getting ready to go to bed, y'all. And I just kind of want to think on this book a little, process it some. And then tomorrow we'll start our next read. But I'm happy that I got this finished. Y'all, I'm so sorry. I feel like I look a little crazy. Please excuse me. We made it home to Georgia. We're at my husband's parents' house in his childhood bedroom. Clearly, Georgia Tech fan. Go Dogs. I got my nails done yesterday, guys. I went for a red, something festive. I wanted to give y'all a little bit of an update on First Lie Wins. I'm on page 40, and I believe according to Goodreads, when I last updated it, that's like 11% done. I was reading it in the car a little on the way here. When I first started reading this, y'all, I had no clue what this is about for real. Well, I can't say no clue. And I still kind of, I'm getting a clue because I'm reading it. But what I mean is when I originally purchased the book, I did read the synopsis or whatever, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. Duh, that's why I bought it. Let's say it's pregnancy, Ryan, I don't know. I forgot what it was about when I started reading it, and I didn't want to read the synopsis on the back because I kind of like going into books sometimes not knowing fully what they're about, because it helps me to have like no expectation. Like I'm just kind of like just taking the book for what it is. So I'm not gonna read the synopsis to you guys. Yeah, I'm not gonna read it to y'all. I will put it on the screen, but I'm not gonna read it because I don't want to like know more. I just want to like kind of dive in. 40 pages in, and I'm definitely liking it so far. It's interesting, and I'm like trying to figure out what the heck is going on. The main character, Evie, which I really like her name. I think Evie is a cute name, has a boyfriend. Oh my gosh, what's her boyfriend's name? Ryan. Evie and Ryan are dating. They like just moved in together, but like Evie is lying to Ryan about her life, and it low-key seems like Ryan may be lying to Evie too about his life. But I'm just like, how do you move in with somebody and lie about your whole entire life? Like, you got to be a good liar. That just really amazes me. I haven't done much vlogging because, you know, Christmas. It was Christmas time and stuff, so hanging out with family and loved ones and things. I've been doing a little bit of reading though. So I'm currently on page 116 on First Lie Wins. I'm really liking this book so far. It's such an easy read, and I think that I
needed that after reading The Underground Railroad. Although I enjoyed The Underground Railroad, y'all know that it was a book that you had to be very locked into, and it was also very heavy material that we're talking about, that we're reading. So I appreciate that this is much easier to read and to get through. It definitely has me like, what is happening? What's going on? Like I mentioned to y'all, the main character's name is Evie. The best way I can describe it is she like works for a hitman, or she works for a man who has clients who need illegal activities done for them. And so they go to Evie's boss, and Evie's boss sends out people like Evie to get the work done. Now, from what I've read so far, it's nothing like she's not unaliving people. It's more like she's stealing certain information from them, getting information from them as far as maybe like their business practices or things like that. So from what I have read so far, Evie is on this certain job, and you're trying to figure out, why is she on this job? What is like going on? Who is she for real? How did she get in this situation or this place in life where she is even doing these types of jobs? What is the goal here? One thing I like is that the book answers your questions slowly, but in a fun and suspenseful way. It talks about like present day, what Evie has going on now, but it also goes back to like Evie 10 years ago, Evie 8 years ago, so on and so forth. And so you get those answers to those questions, of course, as you read. And there's just little curveballs and things thrown in there. I believe I mentioned to y'all that she was like moving in with her boyfriend. And so she's on the job trying to get something from her boyfriend, but it's like her boyfriend is also shady himself. Like, she's keeping things from him, but he's also keeping things from her. So you're sort of like, what's going on? Like, I don't know. It's really good. There, like I said, there's some curveballs and other little things that are thrown in there. I also didn't mention that today's literally Saturday, so like for real, the week is kind of over. The work week, at least, is over. But again, it was Christmas. Hey, whatever. So I'm about to spend some time reading. We're gonna see how far we can get tonight. I have been going to bed super late like this whole entire week because I've been staying up reading or whatever. So tonight I honestly want to go to bed at a good time because I need to get back into my sleep schedule. I don't want to spend too much time tonight reading. We're going to be going back home tomorrow, so if anything, I'll have plenty of time to read in the car tomorrow. I'm trying to read 10 books before the year's out, and if I finish this will be my 9th book. I would like to finish this tomorrow if possible, but if not, I'm not really tripping about it. So sorry that I'm on this camera again looking crazy. This is gonna be the last time y'all see me in this video looking crazy, because we about to wrap this thing on up. It's literally Monday. I've been vlogging for a week. That's insane. This was only supposed to be during the work week last week, but you know, holiday season, like I mentioned earlier, holiday time. So I literally just finished it. This book felt very homey to me, and part of the reason I felt that way is because throughout this book, it's pretty much based in the South the whole time. So the author is mentioning places like Savannah. My mom's side of the family's from Savannah, Atlanta, Raleigh, Louisiana. I ain't never been to Louisiana, but it just felt so homey and so relatable. Even some of the writing, some of the things that the character would say, or the main character would say, or the other characters would say, just felt very comforting. I went to Miss Ashley Elston's Instagram earlier this morning and found out she is, well, I don't know if she's from Louisiana, but she lives in Louisiana currently, but she is a Southern gal. She is Southern, okay? A Southern lady. So that's why it felt so homey, because I'm a Southerner, she's a Southerner. The main character, Evie, she is, like I mentioned to y'all earlier, works for like a hitman, let's say. So she gets sent on these various jobs, and the jobs that she got sent on were just so interesting. Everyone was so interesting. There was one specifically, I'm not gonna say too much about it, but there was one specifically where she kind of got involved with like some college football stuff, and that was really interesting because I work in marketing, and so there was just a little bit of crossover there. Like I said, I don't want to say too much, but my marketing brain was like, dude, I'm freaking learning so much. This is so interesting. The only little criticism that I have is that there was a part in the book where one of the characters was being described. He's a black man, and he was wearing a disguise, and it said that he had dreads, and I was sort of like, ugh. Like, to me, that was, you know, a little bit of a missed
opportunity, I feel, because, you know, they're not dreads, because they're not dreadful, they're locks. So yeah, that I was like, ugh. But who knows, you know, maybe Ashley didn't know, and I'm not one to crucify someone for something they didn't know. I do think that it was a missed opportunity a little, just because, like the book says, it says sold more than 1 million copies. It was a New York Times bestseller, so I'm just like, imagine had the word been locks instead of dreads. That could have been an opportunity just to educate so many people right there. But if Miss Ashley ever watched my video, highly doubt it, but if she ever did, that would just be my one little tip or critique. My initial ratings is between a 4 and a 5 star. I don't know if I can say yet what it is. I feel like I want to sleep on it a little and then come back, but definitely between a 4 and a 5 star. This was a great book, you guys. If you are looking for a mystery slash thriller, I would highly recommend this. It was so good all the way through. I feel like at the end I got all of my questions answered in a really nicely done way. There was definitely a plot twist at the end, like who I was thinking was the hitman that she was working for was not the hitman. I was thinking oh well, I can't say that. I'm not gonna say more because that'll be a spoiler, but Ashley Elston has another book coming out, I believe in January of next year, and there's actually a snippet of it. Anatomy of an Alibi, that's the name of the book. There's a snippet of it in here, so I'm probably gonna read that as well to see if I would get that book. I mean, I would think that I would, just because I enjoyed this so much. I really enjoyed her writing, so I think that I definitely will be checking that out. Yeah, Anatomy of an Alibi, January 2026. But yeah, I could like low-key see this being a TV show or a movie, something. I could definitely see this going to television, and I would watch the show. Even though I read the book and I know what happens, I would for sure watch this, because it was just that good. That is the end of this little reading vlog. Thank y'all so much for sticking with me. I hope that y'all enjoyed it, and I will catch you guys in my next video.